Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GeekWave. It's the low-budget show. It's the show so low it hath no budget. Talking an old-timey tongue sometimes because maybe a director who we all thought was going to do a helicopter movie is doing an old-timey movie. Good for him. It's the end of the year. 2024 is coming to a close. It has been triumphant, I guess. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. I published a comic book, so that's pretty freaking cool. That's like the highlight for me. And, stuff I don't want to say on mic. I committed stuff I'm not going to say. Felonies that got me a lot of money. Maybe. Allegedly. That's a lie. It's a joke. I didn't do anything. I didn't commit any crimes. Unless you call watching Sonic 3 a crime because it took time out of my life. Look, the past couple times there's been a Sonic movie out. We've talked about it. We talked about the Knuckles TV show earlier in the year. One of the worst things ever committed to film. I hate the Knuckles show. I found it awful. And I think it's very evocative of where Sonic is going, which is, I don't care anymore. So, like we did with Sonic 2, and I was like, ooh, things are happening. What's going to happen? I got excited. And then Sonic 3 came out, and I'm like, oh, never mind. I'm not excited. So we're going to talk Sonic 3. That's the big episode we're doing. We're going to talk Sonic 3, the potential for what's coming next in the Sonic universe, and where I think I don't care anymore. It happens. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people like these movies. I've just been so indifferent to them the whole time. Like, I think they are just fine. And they work because they're for children. And I get so annoyed of just, like, going to the theater and seeing a lot of, like, grown-ups there that are my age. Like, can't we just go see something else instead of this? I went to this movie because somebody else paid for it. I'll say that right away. If I was going to spend my own money, I probably wouldn't have seen this movie. But nonetheless, we persevere. We get through it. We're not going to be back till 2027 to talk about another one. And man, is that far away. That's when the Batman Part 2 is going to come out. Which, I didn't put that in the news. But Matt Reeves, the sequel to the Batman, has been delayed till 2027. I'm fine with it. Take as long as you need. I don't care. I'm sure there's some behind-the-scenes stuff going on of him that is delaying him from writing this script. I'm okay. It's not going to affect my life because we have other stuff coming out before and after that. It's fine. That doesn't even sound like a real time yet, 2027? I know it's only like 3 years away, but that doesn't seem like it's happening. It's so far away. I'm going to be so old. I'm not even going to be in my 30s yet. Whatever. Okay. We're talking Sonic. We have a little bit of news to talk about because we took some time off. It's the holiday season, so things were on break. So we're going to talk the Superman trailer and some other stuff. I'm not going to spend too much time on any of it because it's old news and you're familiar with it by now. But I just also want to say this is the last GeekWave episode of 2024. We will be back in 2025, rebooting the whole season. It's coming out again. And the week that this drops on YouTube, all of the top 10 videos are going to be coming out as well. I think we're going to be able to do that. So I'm hoping we're going to get to the comics, the television, and the movies, probably in that order. And then if you're listening to this on the podcast feed or the audio feed, wherever you listen to your podcast, those will all be coming together in like one big episode. And I think in 2025, the first episode of the GeekWave is going to be like those completed together. So just hang on for that. Top 10's coming soon. If everything works out and I do have the time, I think we're going to do like a giant special episode of movie tales as well. Do another big epic tale. We'll see if things work out. I'm hoping I have the time, but we'll get to that. So let's talk a little bit about the news that came out the past couple of weeks. Again, we're not going to spend too much time on it. Just a few things that are interesting and worth mentioning. 2027, back on the radar. Potentially getting a Bluey movie. I say Bluey, and we're talking about it now because it is one of those phenomenons that we rarely see anymore happen, where like a thing that just exists for a young demographic sweeps the nation and works for everybody. A fun show, very funny. All the jokes land in Bluey. It's a very strong outing of a story, so it's cool. Good show. Of course, they're going to do a movie. I actually saw the Tupi and Binu movie. I thought it was okay, so I hope this is in the same vein. I think this could be a moneymaker if they do it right, which is exciting. No other news on the Bluey movie, just that it's happening. Same with this one. Disney wants to do a Tangled live action movie. Of course they do. It's like one of the last ones they haven't touched. There's still a few that they haven't got to yet. And maybe we'll do like a video on that at some point. Or have we done a video on that at some point? Man, I can't remember. Fine. Who do you think they would get to be Rapunzel? I think the choice would be boring. I don't know. Who would be Flynn Rider? Do we have like a young man that could be Flynn Rider today? There was one that everyone was like talking about that I can't remember. Was it Dev Patel? I think he's too old. But whatever. You know. Tangled. It's not my favorite of those Disney films, but it is one that I will watch nonetheless. I watched most of them. I didn't watch The Lion King, Mufasa the Lion King, or the Jon Favreau Lion King. I just feel bad for Barry Jenkins. Like, I really want him to not be there. Go make something else, please. Please and thank you. Also coming in 2026, oh my goodness, Lee Cronin, who made Evil Dead Rise, is going to be doing an adaptation of The Mummy. Yay, another chance at The Mummy. All we do are make mummy movies these days. So do it again. You know, we have a good trilogy, a good couple first movies in a trilogy of Brendan Fraser. And then before that, the Boris Karloff stuff was fantastic and fun. And then Tom Cruise was like, what if I was like in a Marvel movie as the Mummy? Can you imagine the world where that took off? I think I've said that before when we talked about that movie. That would be crazy. That'd be so weird. I can't like, in no part of my brain should like Dracula be like Iron Man, you know? It'd be so crazy. But I love the Mummy. Make more mummies, please. We have a Wolfman coming out next year. We have a Frankenstein movie coming out next year. We have a Bride of Frankenstein movie coming out next year. 2026 is going to have a Mummy. James Wan's working on Creature from the Black Lagoon. Thumbs up this way, kids. I'm so excited. Man, and in 2025, it's going to be like 5 years since the release of The Invisible Man, so we could talk about that too. Very exciting. Very exciting. Good movies all around. I'm very happy. Now, perhaps the two biggest pieces of news we have to talk about. We will start with the news of Christopher Nolan's new film. So, everyone was like, he's doing a helicopter movie. Matt Damon and Tom Holland are going to like fly a helicopter in like a Blue Thunder homage. We were all completely wrong. I'm sure there was like false information put out there to like stop the spreading of rumors and stuff. Makes a lot of sense. But now Universal and IMAX have officially announced that Christopher Nolan's next movie is going to be an adaptation of Homer's The Odyssey, which is awesome. I love a big movie like this. You guys know I love my like old school Clash of the Titans, Jason and the Argonauts kind of deal. I love that stuff. Nolan also seems like the kind of guy who'd want to do a lot of stuff practically, so if we're going to have big monsters, I think we're going to have big monsters that are actually on set. Now, there's obviously going to be CG, if we go that route. There's like, the thing with The Odyssey is, there's been a bunch of adaptations of it. Like, there's literally one this year with Ralph Fiennes that came out, and I'm just wondering, what direction is Nolan going to want to take? Like, it's said to be like his biggest film to date with like the most expensive budget, which is very interesting to me because I mean, if you were to give me a list of like the books that inspired Nolan, I wouldn't have guessed that it would be The Odyssey. You know, like his stories, I guess they do kind of have like the flow of like trials and stuff and like tasks and what have you, but it doesn't seem like that. It seems like going further back than what he like wants to talk about. Like, he's done a lot of science fiction. He's not really done fantasy or adventure, which is exciting. I think that's kind of cool. You know, it's very interesting. And because it's Nolan, you could do like a stripped down version where it's more like ethereal and less like, I'm fighting a big thing right now. But I think he's reached this point in his career where he's got the Oscar win. He's proven to people that he can make an Oppenheimer biopic a $1 billion success. Why not release your inner kid? And instead of like doing James Bond like everyone wants you to do, you go further back and do The Odyssey. I think that's a really cool idea. Something interesting could come from that for sure. I hope so at least. I think it will. I think he's got something cool to do. It's exciting. It's a good cast. Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Lupita Nyong'o, Charlize Theron, Robert Pattinson. Was there somebody else announced? I can't remember. 2026, man. That's pretty soon. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for that. And I'm also very excited for Superman. And we got our first official teaser trailer, which has been doing the rounds everywhere. Everyone's talked about it. I didn't feel the urge to like jump in on the bandwagon and talk about it because I think it looks good. Truly, I think it looks good. I like the choice we're making in cinematography, and the reason I like it's very jarring. It's kind of like what we saw Gunn doing for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It looks very comic book to me, where like the wide lens puts certain items in like the forefront, so there's like the perspective shift. There's a sequence where Superman is like in like a glass cage or something, and like his shin and his ankle are in like the front, and he like moves back to punch, and then like his fist comes into the front. That's very comic book to me, just like weird perspectives and stuff, and I think that's really cool. I like the suit. I like all of these suits we saw for everybody. I really like Rachel Brosnahan. I think that's going to be really fun. It's working. It is really working for me. There's some stuff where I'm like, oh, I'm not sure about this, but Nicholas Hoult looks like a little freak. I think that's awesome. David Cordsweat has a great comparison between his Clark and Kal-El. I'm for it. And Crypto looks awesome. The dog doesn't look like it's a real dog, but I know there is a real dog there sometimes. You won me over. I was always excited for it, and I was so cautious about this movie where I've said it to you guys before in other episodes, like, I don't want to get my hopes up about this film because I know what can happen with Superman on screen. Like, we've been burned before, but this surprisingly feels different, and that's a cool thing to experience. I cannot wait to see what comes from it. Very cool. And I've stopped doing Creature Commando reviews. I'll talk about the whole season when it's done. I don't care. That one's not working for me. Superman is, though, and that's pretty cool. So 2025, is it the year we talk about comic book movies again on this channel? Maybe a couple. We'll see. But Superman for sure. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, let's talk about a movie I didn't like. The Christmas season is now over, and with it is a slew of new movies that came out. A bunch of them came out over like the Christmas break. I just talked about Nosferatu and Baby Girl, and some places are seeing The Brutalist, and A Complete Unknown is out. But before that, a week before Christmas starts up, two big movies released. Mufasa the Lion King, which we're not talking about today, because who cares? It's a prequel to The Lion King. I know what's going to happen. How does Rafiki find his stick? Well, it's there, and he finds it, and he becomes a monkey magic man. Movie's weird, man. But there you go. Mufasa the Lion King, we talked about it. That's it. Timon and Pumbaa are still in it. And I only bring that up because every time I've been to the movies this week, there's a stupid ad with Seth Rogen and Billy Eichner asking me stupid questions. Because I go to Cineplex. It's the closest one to me. I'm not a fan of Cineplex. They're never going to sponsor this show. But it's like, can you answer these facts about the Lion King? What kind of animal is Timon? Is he a meerkat? You're right. They don't want to be there. Nobody wants to be there. But they're there. They're doing the Lion King. But also, there's a Sonic movie in theaters, which is probably, I guess, going to win this holiday season. I don't know. It's doing good. It was the number one film in America, but in the world, it was The Lion King because it didn't debut internationally yet. But Sonic is here, the third Sonic movie, the fourth installment in this franchise, because don't forget, we had a god-awful Knuckles shows come out this year, too. This time around, however, Sonic is not alone. He hasn't been alone since the first one. Tails is here. Miles Prower is here. That's him. That's Tails' name. And Knuckles is back. I guess he's not with Wade anymore. Wade is in this movie, though. If you're interested in seeing what happened to Wade, he has to guard the Emerald, the Master Emerald, by playing hockey with it. I'm glad he was reduced to one scene. We gave him a whole spin-off show about him. I hate it here. And what's happening with our characters, you do ask? Well, they are going camping with Mom and Dad. I forget their names. It's Tom and Sarah? Is that her name? and they're camping and they're going to do like a race, but then they cheat, so it's like a joke that Sonic is losing, and it turns out it's like his anniversary, his Earthiversary, where it's been 3 years since he's been on Earth. It's been 3 years? 3 movies, 3 years? Okay. So they're celebrating Sonic being there. Now, I haven't gone back and watched either of the other Sonic movies. Truly, I have no desire to do so. But what I do find interesting is how, just on like what I think about these movies, I think the animation for the characters has gotten sloppier. I think it's just gotten lazier because we're making so many of them now. It just doesn't... The mouths aren't moving like they used to. Does that make sense? I think the voice acting is still good, except for a new addition I didn't really like. But I think for the most part, I'm enjoying... No, what am I saying? This movie's breaking my mind. I'm not enjoying it. I don't think it looks good. It looks worse. It looks worse. And it's kind of like Venom 3, where we don't bring back a lot of the supporting cast. Like, James Marsden gets like one big sequence in the middle, and then it's cameos for the other characters pretty much. Okay, I gotta look up who plays his wife. I forget her name. Let's see. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Where is the cast? Oh, Kristen Ritter's in this movie. Maddie, that's her name. Tika Sumpter, yeah. What? Tika Sumpter? That's who plays her? Okay. Tom Wachowski. Weird. Okay. Resetting. Getting back to basics. Okay. Bad movie. Did not like it. I think the visual effects for the characters look worse. I had a bad time. I did not like this movie. I think it was the worst of the trilogy. I think it's the least interesting for children. I don't know what you're going to get from this except for Shadow. It's dumb, but it's also like the most lore heavy, and I think Sonic fans really like lore, which I find fascinating because I don't think that's the case for Super Mario fans. I think they just want to see like stuff on screen, but grown-up Sonic fans are like, we got to get the stuff with Maria and what's his name? Gerald, the old Robotnik. We got to get that in here. Like, people want to see that stuff. Like, we have to do that plot. I think people are genuinely interested in seeing those things happen. And I'm like, why? Why do you want your children's movie to feature the death of a child? Like, it makes sense for a video game because it's a video game. They're really trying to make like Shadow a tragic figure, and I just didn't respond to it. I did not like Shadow in this movie. Sorry to say, I truly am sorry to say, I did not enjoy Shadow in this film. I think they did the simplest version of his story, the most palatable for everybody to understand. He's if Sonic didn't have friends, but he did have friends and they died, and his motivations are not very clear. He kind of just stays with like Gerald because he's an old guy that he knows. But I don't know, it's just so boring. And unfortunately, I did not like Keanu Reeves' Shadow. Like, when we got that first trailer, I thought it was going to sound good. I liked it. And then the more he started to talk, the more I'm like, it's not working for me. Like, I think Idris Elba's working as Knuckles, because I think Knuckles was supposed to be like in his 20s. How old is Shadow? Is over 50, so Shadow's like 70 years old. But that makes no sense because none of this makes any sense. Sonic's like 15, right? How old are they supposed to be? I know it's dumb to ask that because they're voice actors, but Sonic calls James Marsden his dad. I know Tails is like 4. I know he's not actually 4, but he's like a baby. It's weird. It's really weird. I don't get it. What are the ages of everybody? So the voice for Shadow wasn't working for me. I think the first scene he has where he's fighting like the gang in Tokyo is the best stuff they do of Shadow. And the end stuff with him, it's fine. I think it's the job done. It becomes more of like, now we're doing the plot that you want us to do. We got all this other shit out of the way. There's Maria died in a different way, though. She was gunned down by accident in an explosion. I will say, I did like, for the most part, the flashbacks to Shadow and Maria. I think that was fun. She grew up in, like, the base, and he was her only friend, and vice versa. Like, that worked pretty well. I think that was satisfactory. It got me like, yeah, this is going to work for a lot of people. This is what they want to see. And then it's going to make it more tragic when Maria dies. I felt nothing because I knew that was coming, and that's the whole point of her character is to die. And that makes it really hard to feel anything for that character. But, you know, whatever. I don't know. Why am I talking about a children's movie like it's some high form of art? I think the Sonic lore has, like, higher forms of art in it. I just don't care about it. And, you know, like, when we like, tease up what's coming up next in, like, Sonic 4, it's not doing anything to get me excited. I don't even think, like, the bits with the humans were that good. And this is going to be, like, my main talking point for this episode. I am not a fan of Jim Carrey. I'm not. I can't, for the life of me, tell you one Jim Carrey movie I like. Like, where I'm like, this is awesome. His 90s films piss me off because it's an annoying guy I want to slap in the face. I watched the Grinch movie recently where he's the Grinch with my girlfriend. I hated all the bits. I hated the bits so much. She loved that movie, and she's like, this is great. I'm like, it's not great. It's pissing me off. I hate him. And that's how I feel about the progression of his Robotnik. As the story progresses, I think in the first movie, it's very subdued. The second movie gets a little more crazy. By this movie, I'm over it. Just shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear you talk anymore. You're bothering me. And he's playing two roles in this movie. I'm your grandpappy boy, old chum. And he's like, oh, grandpapa, the things we could do together. And there's like a freaking montage of like, what are the things you want to do with your old grandpa? And he's like, why don't we go for a walk in the park? Or like have Christmas or whatever. What? Is that what Eggman's like in like the games? I mean, is it? I don't play a lot of Sonic games. Is he like Jim Carrey doing bits? And this is the same problem I've talked about numerous times with Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. It's like you fundamentally think you understand what the character is, but that's because you think it's you. It's not. You are making it you. That doesn't mean the character is you. Deadpool is not Ryan Reynolds, but because you have said it is, now you think it is. I don't think Eggman's a lot like Jim Carrey. I think he's just annoying. That being said, I did like when he died, and I hope he's dead. I don't need him to come back. This movie also just ends, which is crazy to think that a children's movie just ends with everybody dying except for Shadow because he survives, so just Eggman's dead, but he's probably not dead because like half these movies are Eggman's back and he's even more looking like the character. And I'm like, yeah, whatever. It means nothing to me. So many of the sequences with Eggman just pissed me off. I didn't like the Jim Carreys playing off each other. It was annoying. I do like Agent Stone. I think he's a fun character. Lee, what's his name? Majdoob? Majdoob. Sorry, I don't know how you say his name. That character's fun. And I like when Robotnik dies and he's like, to Agent Stone, write fanfics about us or something. Because maybe we are gay for each other or whatever. Bye. Does Eggman confirm he's bisexual in this movie or something? I can't, like, it's so stupid. This movie's stupid. It makes me mad. Sonic made me mad too. Stop saying stuff all the time. It's Ben Schwartz again. Like, they've made the character of Sonic into Ben Schwartz, and I like Ben Schwartz. I have nothing against him. I just don't think it's funny when you're in Tokyo and a car is going really fast, and when it stops, you're like, whoa, slow down, Tokyo Drift. That's not a joke to me. That's a comment on you are in a place where a thing happened. It's so lazy and boring. I just hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I'm sick of these movies. They don't make me happy. I feel no joy anymore. Nothing good has come from them yet for me. But you know what? Packed house when I saw it. Kids were happy, I guess. Kids must really like Sonic, and I know they do. I don't know why, though. Because I don't really think... These are aimed for, like, all ages. They just don't have, like, blood and swearing. Which is strange. And all the bits with Tom and Maddie? What does a kid care? Why can't we just make an animated Sonic movie? A kid's not gonna give a shit about Tom and Maddie posing as Rachel and her husband. Shamir Morris, her husband? I didn't know that. I'm just looking at the cast list now. Randall Handel? Yeah. Whatever. What are we doing here? It's also kind of about like Team Sonic needing to come together to be like a team of brothers and like caring about each other. Which I guess that's what's going to happen. What? The makeup for Jim Carrey being grandfather Robotnik, it was fine. I just don't care. Like, there's a sequence where they dance through lasers, and I'm like, yeah, this doesn't feel like anything. But also, this is the only area where like Jim Carrey can do like this thing anymore. Like, we're not making original movies with him starring in them because I don't think he wants to. That get to let him express himself this way. You know, this is where he has to do it. So, cool. Why can't we just throw him in like a Marvel movie and call him somebody like Madcap or whatever? I don't know. I'm tired. I don't care. Kristen Ritter's in this. I already mentioned that. She plays Director Rockwell because Tom Butler's character dies or is like missing or something. Do they kill him? I can't remember what happens to him. I think he just like leaves and then he comes back. There's that sequence where they're in like Tokyo and they go to like the Chow Diner or something. I can't remember. It's cute. Detective Pikachu reference. That's another one of these movies. Remember when we had a Pokemon movie where Ryan Reynolds was Pikachu? Why did that happen? Oh my god. What was the point I was making? Oh yeah, Director Rockwell. I like Kristen Ritter a lot. Anybody who watches this channel or knows me in the real world knows I really like Kristen Ritter. Big crush on her. She just kind of sleptwalked through this, and I get it. You just had a kid. You have young kids at home. Just give them a movie. Go make a movie for your kids where you're like, I'm the uptight lady, and I'm going to need to take the gems from you. This is all about getting 2 keys to a big spaceship that Gerald built. Then they can do the end of the Sonic game where Sonic and Shadow both get like the Chaos and Master Emeralds and they turn their colors and they fight each other in space and then fight Robotniks in space. Yeah. This children's movie has a plot where an old man wants to blow up the entire Earth. And that is just a lot to process. I mean, it's like comically children level evil bad guys, so I'm fine with it on that aspect. But what the fuck? You know, like, what? Imagine your, like, kid comes home and they explain the movie. You're like, yeah, the Grandpa Robotnik had a big spaceship in the sky and he was going to blow up the world. But then Sonic and Shadow had to combine their emeralds. And when they turned to the like gold and white, they blew up everything. And then Eggman flew it into the moon and it exploded. And we blew up half the moon. And then the denouement happens for the next 2 minutes and the movie's over. Literally, all that happens in like the last 10 minutes of the movie. And I'm like, really? Whatever. Me criticizing these films made for children with a director who's really happy with the product he's making means nothing. These mean nothing. Ben Schwartz is now a movie star, kind of. Get him in Plastic Man. Come on. James Marsden is good at making these movies for some reason. Why does he like these so much? Like, you don't need James Marsden in here. Or Tika Sumpter. Why are they in here? What are they doing? What is any of this? What have we done? They should make Tom Wachowski into a character in the next Sonic game. Not as Sonic's dad, but as like a playable character who gets to like run around and do stuff. I think that would be cool. Anyways, they saved the day. Dr. Eggman's, they're both dead. Shadow might be dead post-credit scene. Shadow's alive. He's not dead. He's too cool. If there's one character in this universe to get a spinoff, it'd be Shadow. Like, I mean a movie spinoff, not that whatever the crap Knuckles was doing, telling Wade, you have to win a bowling tournament, or whatever happened in that show. I mean a movie. I'm sure they are talking about a Shadow movie where we can introduce, like, Rogue the Bat, or Rouge, what's her name? Rouge the Bat, and the other characters that they want to introduce that way. But we also have a post-credit scene that sets up Sonic the Hedgehog 4 2027. The same time we're getting the Batman 2 and a Bluey movie, if you've been listening to the whole episode. The end of this movie, Sonic runs to like New York or something, and there's Metal Sonics there, so Metal Sonics are going to show up. And then he is saved by Amy. And yes, fine by me. She doesn't say anything. Amy shows up. I thought she was going to be in more of this movie because, I mean, you have to introduce Amy. That's the next one you have to introduce. Like, there's still a whole catalog of characters you could introduce. There's, like I said, Rogue, and then Espio, Vector, and Charmy. You can introduce them. We haven't done Silver. Silver's probably the next one, right? There's Cookies and Cream and Big the Cat, and the bird on the surfboard, Jet. I like him. Who else is there? Metal Sonic. We're doing Metal Sonics next, so I guess that'll work for them, Metal Sonics. I don't know. Who would you get to play Amy? Do you get like the voice actor that's been doing it on like Sonic Boom or something? Do you introduce the other original character from Sonic Boom into this world? I don't know. It's crazy. So when the Super Mario Bros. Movie came out last year, one of the things I criticized was how the movie felt like it had to change Princess Peach into a powerful girl boss lady capable of doing stuff, essentially stripping her of the femininity that makes her character her character. I find that a big issue. One of the things I think really works for Princess Peach is making her like this classic I love pink and drinking tea and umbrellas and hearts, and still having her be a character who is playable in games and has her own agency apart from Mario. I haven't played that new Princess Peach game where it's like on a soundstage or whatever. Not a soundstage, like a theater stage. It looks really fun. I like Princess Peach a lot. A big critique I had of that Mario movie was what they did to her, where it's like, I have to like ride a motorbike and beat people up. I'm like, you can do that in the dress and it still be cool. I know why you're doing it. It happens. I don't have that problem with Amy, where I think making Amy very capable and better than Sonic is exactly what you should do, because their relationship should be he's silly and goes fast and she's like, would you stop for a minute? But they both find each other endearing, I think is what you should do with those characters. So I like that. I think her showing up and defeating all the Metal Sonics works for her character. Now, if I had to guess who's going to voice her, Jenny Slate? Is she been in any of these movies yet? Aquafina. Yes, Aquafina. Do it. No, who's like, well, we got Idris Elba as Knuckles and Keanu Reeves as Shadow, so they could do a bigger name if they wanted to. Like, Anya Taylor-Joy was Princess Peach. Do we go like that route and get like Io Debris? We could. I'd like that. I think that would be pretty good. She's got a good voice, but man, that doesn't really work for Amy, though. It's got to be a little more like fun, I guess. Not that Io's voice isn't fun. It's just got to be like, I don't know. I thought it was going to be Kristen Ritter for a minute, but I guess not. Scarlett Johansson? No, I don't. Too old. Florence Pugh? Maybe? No. I don't know. I can't think of like anybody of that age. Do you get like a TV star or something? Ariana Greenblatt? Could she do it? But then you have like a child hanging out with like the grown men in press tours and stuff. So maybe we don't do it. Who's like a contemporary? I guess it would be Jenny Slate as a contemporary of Ben Schwartz. Oh, wait. Who's on his like show? Lauren, what's her name? Lauren what? Like they have that morning show that's weird. Lupkus, is that her name? Lapkus. Lauren Lapkus. That's who it should be. It should be Lauren Lapkus. Isn't she doing the Big Bang Theory spinoff too? It should be her. Should be her. 100% should be her. Okay. Satisfied with everything I just said. Cool. The Earliest Show. That's what it's called. The Earliest Show. Are they still doing stuff with that? That's who it should be. Okay. I'm sold. I'm happy. I'm good with it. Everything's good. Okay. Okay. That's who it should. If it's not her, what are we doing? You know? I don't want it to be Florence Pugh. Okay, I'm done with this movie. I don't like it. I think it's got the weakest script. I think it's got the lamest jokes. I don't like half the voice acting. But damn it, if we didn't go to space and fight things in space. Like, that happened. We did stuff from Shadow lore and Sonic lore. That stuff happened on screen for us to watch, and I saw it. So it worked. There was some good stuff that happened. Fuck. I don't know. If I were to rate the movie, I think I gave the last one like a 5 out of 10. I'd probably give this one like a 4. I'm not too satisfied, but you know what? I keep coming back. And when I come back to this next one, I'm going to be a different man. Oh my god. It's going to be a post-Avengers Doomsday Avengers Doomsday Sonic movie. I think the world's going to be different. Or not. None of this stuff matters. It's stupid. It all sucks. It all sucks. Okay? Do we have 2026 Super Mario Bros. 2, I think. Anyways, Sonic 3. It's out. Check it out. Go watch it. You probably did already. Thank you all for watching this video, though. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. As always, you can check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. And of course, I will catch you in the next one. Happy New Year's, folks. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck.